Hello and welcome back to another frothy episode on how to goat in a Champions League. In case you don't know, my name is Jay. I doubt many of you actually know, to tell you the complete truth. And join with me are my two lovely co-hosts, Mr. Alex and Sean. Gentlemen, say hi.
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 Rock and roll. Guys, we're here to talk about the lovely Champions League from Conquest Creations, because evidently the both of you played round one. And
Yeah.
spoiler
Yeah.
alert, it's been out for a few weeks now. Um,
Months even.
and
We play.
let me say, when I say a spicy meatball, I mean a spicy meatball. Someone shit
Mm.
the bed, and I'm keen to talk. Uh,
Oh, I got this game single-handedly ruined my internet reputation.
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 it's
Uh
reputation from now on.
yeah, it's
You can make whatever you want to be, dude.
for my reputation. Let's go, let's rep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It took me weeks to recover from this game, I'll be honest. Um,
What's
so
bad?
let's get back into it.
Let's
Trauma
go.
bonding.
Wow. Massive shout out to Conquest Creations. Jacob does a phenomenal job. And it's a shitload better than my PowerPointing skills, as we could all
Oh,
see.
fuck, I just stabbed myself. Sorry.
What were you doing? You
Oh,
silly Billy.
I was touching my clippers. Oh,
Ah.
sorry. Anyway, keep going.
I'm on a roll. That's got to stay in, actually.
Oh.
Anyway, so shout out to Jacob Conquest Creations for running such a tight ship on the Champions League. It's,
Are you okay, buddy?
I'm
I'm
good.
good
I'm
now.
good.
Anyway, I think in terms of running competitive events and bringing a somewhat um, oh, more cutting edge game to a YouTube video, this is definitely, I would say, the premier thing to go ahead and watch. Everyone watching this pod would obviously be in tune with Conquest Creations. For some strange reason, if you are not, we'll put a link in the description below to make sure that you can go ahead and click on, see his YouTube profile and hit subscribe, because that man has done wonders for the SBG scene, and we're very lucky to have him in Australia. So big ups. Now let's talk about the single game. So, Alex, talk
Before,
us through. Ah, you just did that actually. Sean,
so
you go.
before we get into that, make sure you comment on this, like and subscribe to all of our good stuff.
I remember
We
that last
are,
video.
you
And
did,
you
good
know what else
lad.
they're gonna do? You know what else they're
Oh,
gonna do? Because they want to see other content when it comes up. They're
Ring a
gonna ring the
ding.
little bell. Ring a ding
ding, ding,
ding.
ding, ding.
If you want to see Sean cut his finger with a snipper again because he's an idiot, ring a ding, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, Contest Champions League, hey?
Yeah, what's it all
What
about,
was it?
Sean? Tell us.
It's about me crying myself to sleep for weeks after playing the game. All right,
Nah.
650 points. We played
Domination.
Domination,
Yeah. Yep.
and that was really about it. All right, so
Why domination? Was it pre-selected or was it a veto?
no, pre-selected by Jacob.
Pre-selected for balancing purposes. I'll never fail to not laugh at this. It's so good. Oh.
That's my army list. 650 points. I'm rocking 24 models. I've got Arathorn and I've got 23 Dunadan. This was during my small point in time where I went, let's try running the Dunadan without Halbarad. And it's a mistake. You don't do it. I knew it was a mistake. So I
No, you
decided
didn't.
to do it. Yeah, I did. So I decided to use it on YouTube's largest batrep platform for everyone to see,
Just to test it out, huh?
just to test it out.
I respect
So
that. I respect that.
yeah, uh, trial by fire and all that sort of stuff. I'd been playing Dunadan for years. I'd, you know, taken out multiple tournaments with Dunadan. So I'm very comfortable with how I play them and how they play. They suit my play style very well. I'm a very big fan of having that amount of might, and I'm a big fan of shooting. Combine those two together, it's a happy marriage. I'm going to put those clippers away. I'm not going to touch them before I stab myself again.
It sounds like a great idea, man. You're a health and safety hazard.
No, I really am.
For viewers who don't quite understand what the ranges are, because this is not typically a list you would see, what's the army bonus and why did, like you won't see a list like this in SPG apart from running ranges? What's their shtick? What's their kind of overall like
Their
general tactic?
their whole deal is the fact that they are all individual heroes. So this is not one warband. This is 24 separate warbands. Now, you do have the ability to run them in warbands if you wish, but I personally like a single drop. And even though a lot of people will say that, oh, but what about Maelstrom and so on? The Dunadan don't really care about Maelstrom either. Their general tactic is you run in groups of 3, you run around the board, you shoot with a few, you move with others, and you corral your opponent into a location on the board that I dub the killing field. And that's where you go, cool, this is where the game happens. You've already lost some numbers. I'm going to come in and my 2 attack, 5/4, strength 4, usually with a banner, does some absolute work. You can start to chain off heroic combats because they've all got a single point of might, will, and fate. Their army bonus is they're dangerous folk wandering the wilds. All models from this army list gain woodland creature, so they're walking through forests as if it's nothing. And the Rangers of the North and the Dunadan, they benefit from the Standfast of Arathorn and Halbrad and Aragon if you so take him. Additionally, the Rangers of the North and Dunadan increase their attack values to 2 whilst they have the infantry keyword, which is massive. So that's why I spoke about them being 2 attack models. And when you've got 24 of them backed up by might, any traps you get off, you're normally killing. There's suddenly 4 attacks at that strength 4, and you're just rolling. Once this army gets on a roll, it doesn't stop.
And we've seen how impactful strength 4 is in the meta currently. This is why people always take them around in orcs. You know what I mean? It's huge, especially for D6 winning on that sweet 5s. That's great. You know, people bank their whole armies on a D6 line. So the fact that tiny little ranger can be strength 4 with 2 attacks, that's pretty premium.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. Oh, this makes me happy.
Beautiful
My
boy.
nose must be itchy, Matt. I don't know. Awesome.
Give a little
Yeah, I think this
scratch.
is I think Jacob ended up doing the old one because I don't think I had an Abercon. I think it was 2 watches. But yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this is old one. The warbands are weird. Anyway, Serpent Horde.
That's true.
I do mention before, I wasn't going to play Serpent. I was going to play Isengard. But we had some late shenanigans, and I'm playing Serpent Horde again because I'm an individual person that does different things with his life. So it's the standard list: Dunadan, Betrayer, Raza, Taskmaster, and it's all about the versatility of hitting hard at range, hitting hard in combat, and having multiple ways of doing it. It's just a fun list. I feel like
For your opponent.
Well, that's the thing is, even if they have a way to get around shooting, I'm happy to go to combat. Let's go. I'll reroll stuff. I'll eventually roll. I don't care if you're defense 6. I don't care if you're defense 7. I'm eventually going to roll a 6. I'm rolling enough dice. I'm re-rolling enough dice. Let's do it. And honestly,
so for those of you who don't know, the Betrayer can spend a single will point for some special master of poisons, and basically everyone within a 6-inch range of the Betrayer will get to reroll all failed wound rolls, which is really impactful because, as you'll notice, there's a shitload of Haradrim there with poisoned arrows. Most people hone in with Serpent Horde and kind of go, oh yeah, like that means that I just need to worry about the shooting. Buddy. They've got poison weapons in combat too, so except for the Watchers of Kana, right? They will basically sit there and it's a fight for line, but when they win fights, they've got such a massive advantage to reroll all failed win rolls in combat again. And it's so sneaky. And I find when I played Serpent Horde or versus Serpent Horde, it's just not something I think of because the army bonus for Serpent Horde is 50% of the army can take bows. So your brain's kind of clued in on this is a full shooting army when in fact it hits just as hard in combat too.
Yeah, it kind of sneaks in because it's the second part of the army bonus that gives all the Haradrim warriors and Haradrim raiders or it gives all their hand weapons poison as well. So it kind of sneaks in because it's not in the actual profile.
Mm.
But yeah, when you're sitting there going shield wall to shield wall, spear wall to spear wall, because I don't have any shields, and you're going 2 for 2, any combat I win, and again, I fight 4 in the back because there's 2 Watchers of Kana and 9 Serpent Guard and 4 Serpent Riders. So plenty of fight 4. If I win, I roll the 2 dice of the people there, and if I fail, I reroll. So getting 5s, 0 issue. Getting 6s, annoying, but still very plausible.
In a way, you can almost look at it as a pseudo trap.
Yeah, yeah.
4 dice.
Yeah,
And
it's huge.
It's the consistency of people like then Suladan. He's almost at like a pseudo 16 strikes when he charges in. Because he goes up to 4 when he charges, knocks him down for 8, and then any fail he rerolls. It's just it's so much pressure on heroes to need to win the fight, spending might to win the fight. And again, it's the classic I'm an evil army with low defense. I don't mind putting a person into combat with your big hero and just shooting him out. So you can't combat off someone if no one's there, and they get a chance to win you again.
I love it.
It's disgusting.
All right, to set the scene, those are the 2 army lists. They are playing Domination. This was the board layout. Now, this is an interesting deployment. I'm really keen to hear why and how you 2 guys deployed in the way that you did, because most boards won't have that big grand hall. For perspective, if you've never seen that great hall, it's probably like 40 centimeters long comfortably. It's quite a chunky monkey, and there are 3 doorways that can go from the side through, and there's 1 main doorway that can start from the front. And there's also a sub level as well. If you go to the very back, you can actually climb up and hide yourself in that little attic looking thing as well. Not that it comes up in this game, but it's just good to note for, options as well. So, Alex, why did you deploy the way that you did there? Like you're pretty close to the line.
So the main thing is, as Sean said, he's deploying in 24, I think I said 48, 24 separate warbands. So I have 4 warbands. I don't know, you might have deployed first, to be honest. It doesn't matter, because you put down 4 rangers and I've got to put down my full army, and then you respond to it any way you want. My main thinking is you've gone for Dunadan instead of Rangers of the North, which gives me a half okay chance to actually take some models off the board with shooting. Obviously, with 3+ to hit, 5s to wound, and a might point behind, you're going to outshoot me. The question is just, how much can I do back, and then how much does that leave me on the board? So I've set myself up. You can't really see because the gate kind of blocks it off, but there's a little fence that the guy one section is hiding behind, the other kind of section of my shooting lines behind that raised platform of the Great Hall. And you're stunning. It's so good. Yeah, and realistically, Betrayer's sitting there ready to give his poison to at least one half of them. You can see there's a cav right on the far side, because you can see the domination objectives. So 1 at the very back of the board, 3 kind of up the middle, and I think 1 is hiding behind Sean's barrels right at the back, if I'm not mistaken, or it's inside that building.
I'm trying to remember, because you placed these ones on the side that I'm actually on, which is an interesting thing that I want to touch on
for sure.
When I mentioned. But I think from memory, I think
it's
was
blocked out
in
of
that
sight. I think it's
area.
Yeah, I think it might even be on the other side of those barrels, kind of blocked off by the house. But yeah, so they're relatively spread out. And realistically, I was going to get some shots off, hopefully take something down, and then get into your face and essentially hold you there. The idea of the Rangers, they want to kill as much, take the charge, and then slowly like wrap around. Hopefully I run away from breaking, and then they'll finally get the objectives. I just need to hold you in place. But I wanted to get some might off the board, and I was willing to risk it. Yeah.
That's fair. Oh, actually, sorry. I remember where that 3rd objective was.
Is it?
And it was actually on your side of the table. In this little, there's a wall here.
Yeah.
And it's tucked up in here.
It's the broken part of the wall. Yeah. Because something funny happened at the end of the game.
Yes.
Good.
So
Sean,
that's
talk me through your. You've obviously got the advantage in the sense of you can see exactly where Alex is. All cards face up basically. You've deployed in such a way where you've got your groups of threes and fours, but you can see exactly where Alex has gone. Talk me through where and why did you put the rest of your models where they are?
okay. Look, so I'm going to backtrack to the beginning of the game, before deployment, before we put objective markers down. So I decided to go for a bit of from the get-go, a bit of a Hail Mary strategy of deploying a lot of objectives on on one side of the board. So I actually deployed two objectives where you can see the three on Alex's side of the table. I deployed two of them, where Alex also deployed one there, and then there was another elsewhere. I was banking on getting table sides and being able to choose that side. So I put my game down to a 50-50 roll-off from the get-go, before the cameras even started rolling, because I knew that if I could get that, my shooting prowess and the way that I personally play the game, I'm sitting pretty, I'm comfortable, I'm able to just hold Jacob up and just play, hold Alex up. Way, big man, and just and just play that defensive game, which I don't want to say pride myself on, but I'm good
Always
at being
fucking
very
play.
defensive.
Yeah.
So that's what the initial strategy was. Obviously, that didn't work out, so suddenly I had to then go on the offensive, which isn't the worst thing in the world for me. I don't mind being on the back foot. Diamonds are built under pressure, so on and so on. Um,
Jesus Christ.
but so it's essentially, I wanted to front Alex. I wanted to give myself as many shooting angles as possible, which is where the individual warband deployment really comes in clutch. I'm able to see
Gotcha.
where Alex deploys, and then I can go, all right, I'm going to deploy a couple, behind these barrels. I'm going to deploy a couple on top of a ridge, and I'm going to be able to give myself cover and maximize Alex not having cover through those angles. And that was essentially how I thought about my deployment. And then I had this little contingent up the back here in front of this house, surrounded by the blue there, that their goal uh, was meant to be to run around the side and start capping down the objectives, as well as these three up top here, to run across the gatehouse, jump down, and run that back line. So I had about 6 to 7 models in mind that I went, cool, these guys are going to flank around whilst the rest draw in Alex with their shooting and then hold up and combat and hit and hit and hit and kill. If I'm winning combats, I'm killing his stuff. And so that was the general idea behind my game plan.
Yeah. Alex, going into this game, were you feeling like it was a green, yellow, or red?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. It's in terms of matchups for me. Even though I'm a defense four army, it means the Rangers get a far more agency in terms of the likelihood of them converting kills. I still feel like this is a very solid matchup, purely because again, if I win the fight, I'm pretty. If I feel pretty good about killing, as well as I have a decent contingent of fight four, which the Rangers despise. There's nothing worse than calling a call, because a lot of them, what they do relies on chaining together hero combats, helping the next one to win their combat so they can just keep chaining kills and getting them off. And if one stumbles to a 50-50 roll off, that just sucks.
It breaks that chain, absolutely.
Exactly. So I felt pretty good. Um, Raza doesn't like it because he's fight four and there's a lot of fight four heroes with a decent number of attacks. But we both knew what was going to happen in terms of you just had to get around at some point, and it was just kind of how many rangers were left to do that job.
Yeah.
Evidently, not many.
Hey, spoilers.
Ooh.
Oh, let me get rid of these.
Why did Sean play like this?
So what?
To be clear,
what I'm alluding to is Sean kind of got belted.
I got to stand up for Sean here.
Yeah.
I don't think there were some decisions that didn't work in your favor. I think it was stuff like when. So let's be clear. The opening couple turns, we should talk about this because this definitely matters in terms of setting the scene. First turn,
This will help us.
Yeah, first turn, we didn't really move. I think I filled in some guys into this area to block off shots, and then the betrayer came in behind, gave you a 6-inch bubble, and I went, sick, I'm gonna shoot you. And you had priority, you stood still, which is very scary. And I went, cool, let's go for it. And then I did the unthinkable. And I called a heroic shoot with the Taskmaster. And got it off. And I had an okay shooting phase.
I think from memory, 1 or 2 Dunadan were killed.
I'm going to say, yeah, I was thinking 2 or 3, and then obviously a decent number of fate points and some might here and there, but nothing crazy. And then I lost 7 Haradrim back.
Yeah.
And my 38 models just became 31 for not much in return, and I went, that's not okay.
Yes.
And so the next 2 turns, yes,
did Sean spend a lot of might to kill those 7?
He did spend probably 3-4 might to just confirm kills, which you do, absolutely.
100%.
And I just went, well, this is not okay. If this continues, I'm not happy. And so the Taskmaster, the absolute Chad he is, just called a march and then another march and kept all his might. And I ended up about here. With and I'm pretty sure that actually first turn I got kind of to the first line. The march I then delayed. So I had some guys charging in, mainly Dunadan and the Betrayer and Raza. So Raza hit, where's my little red pen? This is great. Raza hit up here with some friends. And then the Betrayer and Dunadan hit down here against kind of these 3 rangers and some friends and stuff. And I just called heroic combats across the line. So they could charge in. Then the Taskmaster started the march. Everyone filled in behind. I think that was where the slip up happened. Because I called, I think, 3 heroic combats. And obviously, Sean, you obviously, and I don't know if viewers will know this, but you can still call heroic combats with those rangers. And if your heroic combat goes first and you die, the opponent doesn't get to move. Because they didn't get to do their heroic yet. It was yours. Which obviously let me Dunadan charged into 2, killed them both, charged into 2 more, killed them both. Betrayer, I think, charged into 1 or 2, killed them, charged into 1 more, killed him.
And I will say what stopped me from doing that was the fact that you got your marches for free.
Yeah.
If your marches weren't free, I'm actually not too stressed. But the fact that you got those marches for free put me into this mode of, okay, I need to conserve my might again. I need to go back to that, which is what ended up happening there, which ended up causing that big slip up of, not countering your heroics to try and go first to then stop you from slingshotting into extra models.
And all it would have taken is if the Taskmaster didn't save that first march, either from the shoot or the first march, it means the second march had to be Dunadan, which means he doesn't charge that turn.
Yeah.
Which would have been absolutely would have changed because it means he's either out of combat for that turn, or I have to attempt a compel from the Betrayer who doesn't cast it well, and I'm going against a model who has at least 1 will point, which is really annoying. So that lack of consistency wouldn't have been there. So it was really lucky that I got the double march off and I could get some really nice charges, which those 7, I think it was 7 kills that turn. Yeah, just insane. And it just changed the dynamic completely.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very rough. Back to that previous slide where it was, why did Sean play like this? As mentioned previously in the tactic breakdown, I went for a very early game Hail Mary, where I feel like I want to hold myself to it and say that if I'd gotten the board side that I wanted after objectives went down, I'm very comfortable that I could have won this game. So I went for that. I think from memory, there was maybe another two just during the game moments where I went, I need to pull a certain thing off. I need to, you know, this convoluted tactic needs to work. And then it just didn't. The three big plays that I attempted just didn't pan out. And that happens. And like I'm totally okay with that. It's fine.
Would you say that? Would you say that's indicative of the army though? Like it's very punishing for trying to pull off those.
100%.
Like if it
This,
doesn't work, there's no backup plan. Like or
yeah,
no backup plan, but it's in like it's going to hit you a hell of a lot harder than what it hit the Easterlings.
every single model that you lose as a Dunadan player hurts your soul. It is soul crushing. So there was that one turn. Obviously, I lost those 7 Dunadan. Like that's almost the pack your bag, go home. Like you're in strife. Dunadan is not an army that someone should start with. It is an army for someone who has been playing the game for long enough, knows quite a lot of the intricate details of the game, whether that be movement is the biggest one. Movement is huge. If you don't move properly with Dunadan, you're in strife. But every decision that doesn't go your way as a Dunadan player is punishing. But when decisions go your way, you are laughing. You're having a good time.
Yeah.
So it is very much how the army plays. You win big or you lose big. And why I stopped playing Dunadan for the longest time was I found myself getting too, uh, what's the right word? Sweaty, I guess. As soon as I'd put Dunadan on the table, I went in with the intention of, oh, haha, let's have a fun game. And then turn one, I go, bang. And I switch on. And so that's why I put Dunadan away for a while. And I want to say it was probably about 6 months in between me playing Dunadan and playing a bat rep with Jacob against his Moria, and then 3 days later playing this game against Alex. So I'd not touched my Dunadan in forever. In fact, Liam owned my Dunadan for, nearly a year. I'd sold them to him at one point, and I'd only recently just got them back off him and put them back on the table.
Interesting.
Yeah, it feels like it's one of those lists that in order to play optimally, you have to play in a kind of negative way, which is unfortunate because you need to pick up kills early to make it manageable number wise. And that requires you sitting back and picking off people and making them run to you, and then you fade back a bit more, and it can be not fun for people for sure. And honestly,
100%.
I gotta shout out your awareness as well of being able to like acknowledge that and recognize that, because it takes a lot for people to do that. Yeah,
It is an incredibly tough army to play. The one thing I do want to mention, something I've said to a lot of people with Dunadan, is it is an army that you will always, from turn one, you're playing on the back foot. You're going to feel like you're struggling. But there is one moment in that game that things just click and you go, I don't lose from here. So it's all about getting yourself to that point of going, there's no possible way I lose from here.
and yeah, I definitely recognize, like you were saying, there were definitely those moments where I'm like, damn, he has a shot here. And it was little things that managed to just get pulled off that I felt like counted. Like I felt like Arathorn was gonna make some moves and just go, well, I need to kill Suladan, stop or stand fast, and then just be really annoying, charge all the heroes. And then I went, awesome, deal with Raza first. And I think I was just charging him on the other side of the barrier, and I didn't care about killing him necessarily. I think I got the leader wound, and I was like, yeah, cool. But it was just about holding him there and just making you, as the less agency you have, especially for a ranger army, it's massive.
What the end result was, and like wrapping up with pivotal moments in the game. So obviously it was, quite a while ago, but were there any like points in that game that specifically was like, obviously the Silverdan with the triple combats was a big moment. Sean, was there anything
that was huge
that the Rangers did for you that was kind of clutch, or you managed to pull a wound off a horse, or something along those lines that you can remember?
It was that first 2 or 3 turns of shooting where I dropped, was it like 15 Haradrim or
Yeah, it got me really close
something?
to breaking.
Yeah, something stupid where I went, cool, this is a really, really, really good point to be in. That's the only major moment in the positives for me. The rest was attempting, uh, I remember charging into the Taskmaster, trying to kill him, charging into certain models so I could heroic combat off and split off traps and everything, and that just not working out. I got unlucky in a lot of spots.
Yeah, you need those combos to get pulled off, and the fact that that whole left side collapsed so quickly, because I think Sulan didn't even come back like behind my line. He went around the building and was just like,
Yeah.
"Cool, I'm here."
He went behind the building and didn't really do much from there.
No,
So
he just actually the best thing he ended up doing. Yeah,
he
I was
started
gonna say.
here and then just like tucked up in around here and just kind of like hung out for a bit.
Yeah, I was more so just about threatening charges and just making you think about it. And honestly, from there, I'm pretty sure he walked up the middle, killed a dude, and then stood there, gave a 12-inch stand fast, and held those objectives. That was it.
Yes, that's exactly what he did.
Because he'd done his job, and I got to shout out the Taskmaster. Oh my lord, 4 might, if not more.
Yeah,
it was something stupid. That
Yuck.
dude. I don't. He either only failed 1 or he failed none.
Yeah, I think he might have had the last one, because I'm pretty sure you did kill the Taskmaster, maybe on the last turn, or either that, or I killed the ranger that you Koro combated into me. Something weird. Because once I double marched up, he posted up behind that building, and he went, "Sick, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm in the perfect spot. I'm good."
Got to a point in the end of the game where I'm sitting there going, I don't win from here. What can I do to make myself feel good? And that was, I'm gonna kill that Taskmaster. And I don't think I did. Or I might have did on the last turn. Yeah, but the big thing, the most notable part of the game, Alex, which maybe didn't get put into the video, was this objective down here. There was a little Haradrim warrior who decided to jump off the wall to go and stand in that thing.
It was even worse. It was because it was at the bottom of the little pit, like the broken wall. And I was just going to go, like, descend down and just kind of walk towards the objective. And both you and Jacob were like, nah. Jump between them. That'll be funnier. And I went, why not? Let's do it. Because I was feeling a bit arrogant here. Rolled the 1, rolled the 5+. He died. And I was sitting there going, you have like a Dunadan kind of nearby. You might get that objective. And I think I ended up killing him. You may have even gotten that, honestly. That was pretty funny. Yeah.
But I think that's another tactic with Dunadan is getting into your opponent's head. Yeah. Whether that be stressing them out or just saying like, hey, that's kind of funny. Why don't we do this? And then they go, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then it doesn't work out for them. It's a good
Whenever I do that, it doesn't work. I remember playing against a Rohan player down in Victoria, and he jumped a fence with a Rohan Rockart, and he rolled like a 4. And I was like, you should re-roll it, because if you get the 6, you could charge me. And I was thinking, oh, if you get the 1, it's gonna be hilarious. And then he rolled the 6 and charged me, and I was like, you're not supposed to do that.
Oh,
that wasn't part of the plan.
See, I always roll the 1, and then I've got my poor model that's tried to jump every time, man, every time. Anyway, before we keep on rambling on and on and on, I think that'll do us for the video, honestly, gents. Unless there's any other closing thoughts from here. I think the game ended up 10-1 to Alex.
Yeah, that sounds
about right. I broke, and then I think 4 objectives, a wound, and break. Yeah.
I just want to say I've had a lot of games now against Alex, and at these tournament level events, whether that be at Clash or another video that we're going to talk on or have already talked on, who knows, or this, they're always some of the best games. Every single game that we've had, Alex, they're locked up here, and I love them.
Oh, thank you, mate. And again, I feel like because this was one of the was this the first time we played?
I think this might have been the first time we faced each other.
So there's always like not necessarily nerves, but there's always the question of like, it's a new player. How are you going to interact? Are you going to vibe? We're here.
Yeah, right.
We're here now.
We're goated.
Boys, we're goated. Thanks, Jay. Do you get the lingo?
I did.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a more fun opponent. This was a bit of a standout match in terms of just a bit like luck swung one way, and it was pretty hard to come back from there. You made some attempts, but it unfortunately just didn't work out. But it was good to see the Dunadan out on the board, man. And it's a dice game.
Exactly. That's how it works. Take us out, Jay.
Thank you all for listening. From me to Alex to Sean to the MGG community and above. Like, subscribe, share this video. Good night.
The way you started that was so constipated.